Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back once again to Phatkat Collections. Today I got another RGMT watch for you guys under the Dartmouth umbrella. And RGMT, again, like all the Dartmouth brands, is just an awesome watch company. They're kind of military themed, although I say that a little bit loosely. You know, a lot of times the theme in some of these watches, and you know, let's face it, Dartmouth makes so many different watches, so many different models, that it's difficult sometimes to constantly keep like creating a theme, right? But this one, again, they are kind of military themed, kind of like their other brand. Ballast is sort of, you know, naval themed. So just kind of, you know, take the, I guess, the theme of RGMT with a grain of salt. But do understand they do make some incredible models. And this is one of their newest models. So RGMT, you guys probably have seen the videos before. If you've been watching my channel for a while, I reviewed RGMT probably about maybe 6 or 7 months ago. And the biggest complaint that I've received by people who want to get RGMT watches is that the pricing structure is just, it's pretty high when you look at the RGMT site. And I say that because it's not like RGMT lists their watches on their specific website, and then when you go there and you see $1,000 for a watch, and then you can't find it anywhere, and that's the price, right? It's arguably what is a good value. You know, again, that depends on, we can argue left and right as far as whether a watch is too expensive for $1,000, whether a Rolex is too expensive. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it really comes down to each specific person and what, you know, how much they want a particular watch or, you know, or any product for that matter, and what they're willing to spend on it, right? Manufacturers are going to give you different options, but ultimately, I've said it many times with many different videos, most of the watches out there that you're going to buy, whether they're $100,000 watches or they're $10 watches, maybe $10 is a little too extreme. But my point is that there's not a huge difference in quality. And when we look at, again, not to pick on any particular brand, luxury brand watches, you are paying for the name. Is there a difference in quality? Sure, there's a slight difference, absolutely. You're going to find more attention to detail, maybe a higher level of finishing, but at the end of the day, that difference is not like here and then here. It's really like this. It's not a huge difference. And at the end of the day, if you follow my check boxes, and again, these are just kind of suggestions, but if you follow these basic check boxes and then add some of your own to that mix, you're going to have a good quality watch you're going to be very happy with. Getting back to the price though, we do have an understanding, we do know what you get for your money, especially if you're into affordable brands. If you haven't been delusioned and your thought process hasn't been corrupt, in my opinion, you know, you will look at affordable brands and say, yep, I know what I get for I know what I get for, you know, $100, $150, $200, $300, with brands like Invicta, with brands like Aragon, with brands like Nubeo. So again, if you are a smart shopper and you have some experience with watches, then you'll understand that there's not a huge difference between all price points. Is there a difference? Yes. And of course, those differences are going to be a little more extreme when you go to the lower end of the spectrum. We're looking at watches in that $10 to $30 price range. Absolutely, there's a big noticeable difference. Absolutely. But when we start getting involved in what I call good quality, right? The good quality to exceptional quality, it's not like, again, here and here. It's more like good quality and then here's exceptional quality, right? It doesn't, the exceptional quality watch doesn't make the good quality watch a shitter like a lot of these idiots on YouTube will try to make you believe for their own agendas. They have to rationalize why a watch costs so expensive, and they have to rationalize it to make it seem it's about quality when it's really not. They just don't want to admit the fact you're paying for the name. You're paying for heritage, you're paying for a story, all that goes right into their pockets. So I digress. Back to the watch. Now, with RGMT, this was my point in bringing up the pricing, they are working at changing the pricing. They have manipulated some pricing. I'll give you guys my analytics. In over a year, roughly a year with Nubeo, I've referred over 1,000 referrals through my videos, right? And I'm not going to disclose all the sales I brought them, but it's a considerable amount of sales. When we look at Nubeo, did about 850, one sale, and that just happened the other day. And I'm really glad because it's proof of the pudding that if if RGMT makes their prices more affordable, makes the prices what you can find these watches for direct to consumer, they're going to sell a lot more watches direct, and they won't have to wholesale them out to other companies, right? So keep that in mind. My link is in description, bookmark it, and as I put up videos, understand that you will see some pricing structure changes, okay? So the one I'm going to share with you guys today is a new release. It says sold out on their website. I believe it's just, again, they haven't really made the updates yet. I don't believe it's available quite yet. But this one here is called their Capricorn Dual Time. Now, I'm not really 100% sure, to be honest with you, why they call it. Let me just look at this a little closer because I just kind of pulled this out of the box the other day. Let me see what we're working with here. This watch appears to have, let's see if I turn this crown here. So what's really interesting about this watch is that when you, and I'm going to show you this, hopefully you can see this by the video, when you look at the hands, it's actually got on each hand two pointers, basically, or two pointers, right? So I'm not really sure where the dual time comes from, but let's just see what it has to say. This is what they list right on their website, okay? Again, this is the color choice here. It's called the chromatic gray. You can sign up with your email to be notified when it's available. This is an impressive representation of power sophistication. The Capricorn Dual Time Chronograph features a reliable Japanese movement with dual time feature, 10 ATM to water resistance, and additional silicone strap. So I'm going to leave it at that. We'll come back to the specifications. Let me just first give you guys a couple close-up shots here, and I'll throw some pictures up during the video like I always do. It is available in several different color combinations. We'll get to that as well. It does have an inner rotating unidirectional bezel, which is pretty cool. I always like watches that do that. And then it is a chronograph. For those of you guys who don't know what a chronograph is, basically a chronograph is just a stopwatch. All right. Now, as far as the dual time is concerned, I'm a little confused at how that actually works, because when I look at the hands turning here, it appears that there is a hand underneath the hour hand that is turning as well, and I just don't. Let me activate the chronograph. Interesting. Let me actually. You should 3D instruction manual with this one. Let me reset the chronograph here, because there's if you ever get your second hand to not line up at the 12 o'clock position, there's a way to reset that and recalibrate it. Let me put the crown back in. Alright, so we start the chronograph, pause, reset, probably a ronda movement. I'm just not seeing here how you... Oh, there we go. So it's almost like, you guys can't see what I'm doing, but now that I've moved the hands, you can see there's a blue hand, and then we have another hour marker, and then the minute hand. And I believe what this is, a dual time, I believe this is going to function just very similar to like a GMT movement, where you can set, even though GMT is technically supposed to be set to Greenwich Medium Time, I believe with that, what I normally do is I set that to military time. So I believe with something like this, you probably can set that to whatever time zone you want, and then of course set your primary time zone. And to do that, you basically turn you pull to the #1 position, and you turn the crown counterclockwise, and that will turn the fatter, I should say, what I would consider the primary hour marker. If you pull it all the way out, you will then rotate all the hour markers, or even the blue one. So I think you would set this just like you would a GMT. Hopefully you guys probably can't see that, but if you do get it, you'll just have to read the manual here. But that's what I'm getting from this. And then of course that unidirectional rotating bezel will function just like any other rotating bezel would. Now again, and I'm giving you guys my best, so bear with me here. You might be saying, this guy doesn't know anything about his watch. You'd be somewhat kind of right. You know, this is more of a complicated movement than I'm really used to. I'm sure I have some Invictas that have something similar. I'm guessing that this movement might be a ronda, but I'm not 100% sure because they don't list it, which again is something that I've been pushing them to change on their website, maybe when they update the pricing. But overall, very cool watch. I like the case design on this. It's not just your standard round. It reminds me kind of like their Spinnaker Dumas. which is one of my favorite Spinnaker watches. It kind of has that hexagon shape to it. Not quite as pronounced on this, but I like that they didn't just do a round watch. And it is thinner in my opinion, and I believe it's thinner than like the Dumas just because you had that quartz movement. It is a screw down case back. And let's get to the specifications on it. So we do have 3/16 stainless steel, checkbox number one, number one for me, for you too, should be, do you like the watch? If you look at this, can you picture yourself wearing it? You're going to get the watch and say, hey, this is an exceptional quality watch. That's a no-brainer. But is it something you like? And I would say that this watch, you know, is not one of my favorites, you know, because I'm not really one to... You know, for me, if I would always prefer a standard, just basic movement, and the complications I would want on a watch are really just, you know, time, second hand, and of course your day of the month. But even day of the month isn't really a priority for me. I'm just really looking, you know, for the watch to look a certain way, right? You know, let's face it, we all have phones in our pocket. We can all look at our calendar. So it's not really something that you need, but everybody's different. Some people like different complications in a watch or in a movement. For me, I just think it's a very busy looking watch, and I'm not saying that to, you know, dissuade anybody from getting it. It definitely caught my eye. I like the gray and yellow. It's a very noticeable watch, and I think it's pretty cool. You know, I definitely... But again, not one that I would normally gravitate towards to say, oh man, that one just really calls to me. And this is where checkbox number one comes in for me. If I was buying this is not one that I would prioritize with all the other movement or all the other RGMT watches that they have in their site. I think my favorite RGMT is going to be the Ohio. But again, they have the Torpedo, and there's a lot of cool models. And again, checkbox number... let's just say number 3, or one of my check boxes, is it an automatic movement? Again, if I like a watch enough, I would go with the quartz, absolutely. But for me, I will always gravitate more towards automatic. So, checkbox number 1, do you like it? If you're watching this video and you say, you know, I definitely dig that watch, I definitely dig the color combination, I definitely dig, you know, the complications and the fact that the quartz movement, then great, you've fulfilled checkbox number 1. Number 2 is, what is it made out of? So this 3/16 stainless steel, that's a major checkbox for me personally. After that, movement, right? If I loved it enough, quartz, absolutely great, accurate, no worries. My dad will always prefer quartz over an automatic watch. The next checkbox is you have to decide what's important to you. For, you know, a lot of folks, it's going to be what kind of crystal is it, you know, what size the watch. It's a 44mm case diameter with a 13mm case thickness. You do not have screw down function pusher crowns on this, so you're limited to that 10 ATMs of water resistance. Pricing on it, I have no idea. I have no idea. Keep checking back. That's all I can really tell you. But it is a cool watch, and it is one I just wanted to get my hands on to share with you folks, because it just goes to show you, you know, that RGMT is always kind of, you know, they're trying to think outside the box, and like, you know, there's so many options out there to choose from nowadays. You know, you really just have to look at a watch and say, hey, does this one call to me? Is this a watch I'm really interested in getting? All right, so crystal on it, you have a mineral lens, no sapphire. That's going to be a deal breaker for a lot of folks, depending on the price on this watch. You know, some folks, if it's a certain price and it doesn't have sapphire, or to me, sapphire makes no difference at all. Again, I've never scratched any watch, whether it be mineral, whether it be flame fusion. You know, they're all very good, and that's the argument a lot of guys make, is they think, oh, if it's not sapphire, it's going to scratch easy. It's not the case. You're probably not going to scratch anything you buy, okay? But just, you know, again, you have to come up with your own check boxes that are going to work for you, that are going to make you happy. It's your money, it's your personality, it's your taste, and that should be number 1 in buying a watch. And I hear it all the time. People are like, you know, I used to buy this luxury brand, and I ended up not really wearing it because I realized I wasn't really buying it for me. And a lot of folks on the flip side to that, well, you know, I've always wanted a Rolex or a luxury brand. That's what they buy, and they're happy they got it. So again, always buy things that call to you. If you're watching this video and you're like, that's not for me, move on to the next. Check out one of the other videos I've reviewed. But nonetheless, still a interesting watch, and still one for the collection. As far as the box, RGMT changed it up a little bit on this. The box, I would say, I don't want to use the word cheaper, but it's a thinner plastic box compared to some of the other RGMT boxes that I have reviewed in this channel. A lot of the other RGMTs are kind of similar to this Nubeo case, more of a harder, or more of a, more of a thicker kind of like a Pelican case. Not quite as extreme as Invicta, but you know, to me, I don't see any real issue with this. I like the fact you get more space in there. So if you want, you know, for me, I'll pop the foam out and use this for like ammo or something like that. So, but you do have the kind of hollowed out RGMT logo, which sort of has like a chevron kind of look like you see on the side of like a military jacket or a police uniform. They do give you the tool and an extra strap and a couple extra push pins or push bars. The only thing with these, they gave standard push bars, and which is kind of odd because if you look at the actual bracelet that comes on it, you have the push bars, or I call them toolless push bars. You just get your fingernail in there and pop them out. So it would have been nice to just would have given the same style of push bars. Then you wouldn't really have to include the tool. So kind of confused there. They got the tool, standard push bars. Why not just not give you the tool and give you just, you know, the tool-less push bars? But nonetheless, these are not really complaints. They're just observations for the most part. But definitely a cool watch, and definitely, you know, most of these RGMT watches sell out. So they're definitely doing something right. Now, I haven't worn this yet, so I can tell you just on video, on camera, live, unedited, raw. When I put this on here, I am kind of surprised at how much I like it on the wrist. It is not sized yet, but I slapped it on, and I didn't really think it was going to do all that much for me, but then actually seeing it, I do kind of dig it. I think I will size this today and wear this. It is a very unique piece, and again, as far as the quality, when you pick this up, you're not going to say that this is a low quality watch. I mean, I would put this right up there with like Citizens and Bulovas. You know, those are, for the most part, quartz watches. I think if you are a guy who appreciates that level of quality, Invicta quality, Aragon quality, you'll definitely appreciate this watch. I like the bracelet on this too. I'm sure they use this on some of their other ones. It's not overly unique, but it is kind of a little bit angular, so it does reflect the light pretty well. Hey, you know, can't really complain. I dig it. Alright, so other than that, you do get, you probably saw when I opened the box, this particular model does come with the yellow strap. I believe this is silicone, but don't quote me on that. They don't list that as well. You know, pretty cool if you want to change it up. I think this is kind of a standard strap. This probably fits a lot of the Nubeo watches too. You know, some folks will I'm cool if they give you the strap, but you know, for me, I'm more of a bracelet guy. Again, it's one of my, I wouldn't say it's a checkbox, but it's what I gravitate more towards. And some folks, you know, they're posting on, I know, my Invicta Addiction Facebook group page, and, you know, one guy had a really bad experience with Invicta. We've heard it before with the silicone straps, the rubber straps, that they disintegrate. I don't know if they all do. I really hope that the rubber they're using, or silicone, whatever they may be using these straps, doesn't do that. It would be very disappointing to see a watch in several years disintegrate. I can assure you that if you look at a quality material like isofrane, I've had my Aquadive watch on isofrane for, geez, like 6-7 years now, and it looks as good as the day I got it. So again, I don't really wear it, but you know, what we don't want is for these to just fail without even being used. And I had that happen to a Sterling watch. A gentleman posted, I can't speak to the truth on this, but he did post a picture. I don't know the whole story, but basically Invicta watch strap totally disintegrated, just dry rotted, fell apart. So that would be disappointing. But the nice thing about, you know, this brand is that if that were to happen, you know, you can find replacement straps that aren't proprietary to RGMT, whereas Invicta, you know, some of those straps really kind of make the watch. So if you start changing it up, you're really kind of taking away from the design. And a lot of times you have a 30mm lug to lug, you're gonna have to find something custom. Whereas this is like a standard, was it 22mm thickness or lug to lug width. You can very easily find straps all over AliExpress, eBay, and Amazon. So, but pretty cool, you know. So anyway, just to throw on the wrist here, again, I'm about 5'8", I weigh about 172 pounds. And I have a 7-inch wrist. This is what it's going to look like on a guy my size, my height, and my weight. And again, I do this just to give you guys an idea of what the watch might look like on you. You know, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. I believe a video is as well. And it just gives you an idea of, you know, if you are looking at buying one of these watches I review, and there you have a lot of different options, you know, you might say, hey, you know what, I definitely, maybe I wasn't feeling the picture, but, you know, on the wrist it looks pretty good. Hey, you got to be a big boy and decide, you know, what you're going to be happy with. But overall, again, like all the other RGMT watches, fantastic quality, innovative design, and it's, you know, folks are going to buy this. So if you guys have any other questions, drop me a comment, drop me an email. I'm always here to help you guys out. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. I always appreciate anybody who takes the time to ask me a question about anything. Again, I'm no expert, but I have a lot of experience with different brands, and I'll try to give you the best answer. And if I don't have the answer, I'll try to get it for you. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a fantastic day. Happy holidays, and take care.